John Kavakis here for Forum 43, and this is my take. Today, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk to you about white metal and resin. Now, this has to do with 143rd models, and so most of you are probably pretty familiar with the industry, but basically there's three ways to make a nice 143rd model. You can be die-cast, which is reasonably accurate, usually metal, sometimes a mixture of resin and metal, but very high volume. And the advantage of that is much lower in price compared to some of our collectibles. Now, the second one is resin. Resin is it can be more accurate, can be very sharp, can be very detailed in its casting. Price is a bit more than die cast, but most resin runs somewhere in that $100 price range. And the third major way is white metal. Now, white metal is handcrafted, truly handcrafted. I'll talk about that in a second. But it's handcrafted, a bit heavier. Some people think not as detailed, but I think today they can be equally as detailed as resin or die cast. And the price point is a little bit higher, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So let me tell you why I collect. I enjoy miniature models. I enjoy a well-crafted scale model of a full-size car. I take a lot of pleasure out of seeing accuracy in miniaturization. I got started in this hobby back in 1988 when somebody gave me a Brooklyn 1958 Pontiac Bonneville convertible. And so I'd never seen anything so accurate. Now, I look back on that time, and those models were a bit cruder than what I'm accustomed to today. But boy, I'll tell you, I was hooked. The second thing I bought was Brooklyn 68 Mustang Shelby. And that one was even more accurate. Well, so I was off to the races with that. So I cut my teeth on white metal. So I'm going to talk to you first about resin. And, we have to be realistic about how these models can be so accurate and yet sell at a $100 price point. They're made, most of the models in that price range are made in China in factories. They do a good job. And certainly the companies that license these models are very sincere about having an accurate product, giving value to the customer. We know some of these makers personally. They're great people. They're passionate car guys. And I can't fault them for that. But the factories are volume oriented. The people that work in the factories are not necessarily car people. They're there to earn their wages. I'm not going to get into the debate over how much they make, but certainly one of the reasons that they're able to sell at a $100 plus price point is because labor is a lot less expensive in China than it is in the United Kingdom, than it is in the United States. So you end up with a lower price point. Now, again, I have resin in my collection. I enjoy collecting it. I do not enjoy the lack of heft. I don't enjoy the higher volumes. It's not derogatory for me. It doesn't keep me from buying them, but I just get more pleasure out of my white metal models. And the reason I get more pleasure out of the white metal models is because they're crafted. They're made by craftsmen. Now, if you've never been to the Brooklyn factory, you should consider going. It's a real education. I came out of there after 2 visits, amazed that they can sell their models at the price point they do for all of the hands-on crafting that's involved. So not everybody at the Brooklyn factory or the SMTS factory are car people, but they are passionate about what they do. Now, there's been a consolidation in the white metal industry. I think that's a good thing. Generally, the long-term effects of consolidation are better products and a better business model. I think we're going to see the same thing as SMTS and Brooklyn become one company. But I know the people that are running them. I know the people at the front desk. We're all familiar with Amanda. And so, they're oriented towards their customers. They're car people. They enjoy cars. So they have a passion for making an accurate model. So not only do they have a passion for making an accurate model, but this is true craftsmanship. These are hands-on. They take meticulous care with each individual model. They're individually wrapped, they're individually boxed. For me, it's the difference in the intangibles that drive me towards white metal. I can go out onto my shelf in my living room and find a little statue, and I can appreciate it. We bought it while we were on vacation. I remember why we bought it, when we bought it, and everything. And I like that little statue, but I can go to the Vatican and look at the Pieta. And so the Pieta is something totally different. It is a masterpiece. It has been hands-on by a master craftsman, and I can appreciate the beauty of the Pieta in a completely different way than I can appreciate the beauty of my little sculpting sitting on my shelf. So I'm not saying that this Alfa Romeo, which is Brooklyn's most recent release, which is white metal, and if you haven't seen my unboxing video on the Alfa, you ought to go take a look at it, because to my eye, this is as good as any resin I've seen. And it's more expensive, yes, but it has heft. It has an intangible value of exclusivity. I can talk to the people who made it. I can call them on the phone. I can get an email. They can email me back. I can appreciate their involvement in this. And there's probably the greatest intangible has been given to me by my friend John Roberts in England. He says, white metal has soul. And I can appreciate that. If you don't appreciate that, maybe it doesn't really matter what metal or what material your models are made out of. That's okay too. Again, we have all our different motivations for collecting, but I want that soul. I want to know that the people that put my model together have passion, if not for cars, for craftsmanship and for their product and for their customers. There's the differences between the two. I love the white metal industry. I love the people that are in it. I love the involvement. I like feeling like I'm part of a community that has some exclusivity to it. So I like having this on my shelf. I like having the resin on my shelf too. I just don't like it quite as much as I do the white metal. So that's my take on resin versus white metal. I hope you appreciate it. I certainly appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me.